Hello, we're back for quiz 30. That's about 1,200 questions we've put up. Right, top of the charts last week was Stevie and Rita. We had 29. Josie and Bill got a 24. I think Jean and Davey was up there in the 20s. Bill didn't get the connection. Stevie and Rita got the connection. I've got more good connections. I was thinking what I could do last week. I'm actually about 2 connections ahead. I've got the connections done for. I'm getting carried away with these connections. I've got the connections done for the next 2 quizzes. So hopefully nobody will get this connection this week. Hopefully. Right, we're going to start this off in round 1 for quiz 30. What's the only country in the world with no red, white, and blue on their flag? Okay. What's the only country in the world with no red, white, and blue on their flag? Hopefully I can get through this quiz without coughing today. Number 2. How did Bill Suitor, you probably haven't heard of Bill Suitor, but you'll probably know this. How did Bill Suitor, S-U-I-T-O-R, arrive to the opening ceremonies of the 1984 Summer Olympics? How did Bill Suitor arrive to the opening ceremonies of the 1984 Summer Olympics? Number 3. What was the first product advertised on TV when they first went into colour? Okay, I know the SR toothpaste was the first product advertised on TV, but that was black and white. What was the first product advertised on TV when they first went to colour? Number 4. At what age do human males reach half their human height? Okay, at what age do human males reach half their human height? So, what age are you when you first reach half of your maximum height? Number 5. What's the only major organ that can regenerate? Okay, so what's the only major organ that can regenerate? Number 6. A deficiency of which vitamin causes scurvy? A deficiency of which vitamin causes scurvy? Number 7. In what year did the half p go out of circulation? Okay, in what year did the half p go out of circulation? You get 1 year either way. Okay, so you have 3 years to get that. Here's an anagram. You might need a pen or a pencil. Write this down. It's a film. Technical, healthy, cocoa trade. Sorry, there's a 4 in there. 4. Technical, healthy, cocoa trade. 4. Technical, healthy, cocoa trade. Usually gives you a wee bit of a clue in what it says. So FOR TECHNICAL HEALTHY COCOATRADE for technical healthy cocoa trade. Okay, if you want to pause that and go back on some of them, I'm going to give you the answers. Then we're going to, also is warmed up for the connection round. It's going to be my wee favourite one, writing these out now. Answers. What's the only country in the world with no red, white or blue in their flag? It used to be 2 up until a year ago or something. There's only 1 now. Jamaica. How did Bill Suitor arrive to the opening ceremonies of the 1984 Summer Olympics? He arrived by jetpack. And what was the first product advertised on TV when they first went colour? Bird's eye peas. Frozen peas, probably. At what age do human males reach half their human height? 2. You reach half your height, your maximum height, when you're 2 years old. What's the only major organ that can regenerate? Liver. A deficiency of what vitamin causes scurvy? Vitamin C. In what year did the half P go out of circulation? 1 year LRY, 1984. So you have 83, 84, 85. Give yourself a point. And rearrange for technical healthy cocoa trade. It was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Write your answers down. And we're going to go on to round 2, which is my favourite here, connections. So you might need to write your answers down and see what you come up with the answer, the connection. Number 1, who wrote the book of Mice and Men and East of Eden? Who wrote the book of Mice and Men and East of Eden? He had a few more books, but that was two of his big ones. Number 2, for the first time in a good while, the usual flavour has been knocked off a top spot. Last year, cream of chicken soup was the UK's favourite soup, outselling the usual number 1 flavour. Okay, so this flavour usually be the top selling one, but not last year. For the first time in ages, cream of chicken soup was the UK's favourite soup, outselling the usual number 1 flavour. What was that? What's the usual number 1 flavour of the soups? Which group, this is number 3, which group had hits with Patience, Pray and Back for Good? Which group had hits with Patience, Pray and Back for Good? And number 4, what type of bandit do you used to see in casinos? What type of bandit did you used to see in casinos? For health and safety reasons now, they've changed them to other types. Number 5, we 60s song, question. Which group sang Fire Brigade? Got the number 2. And they also had a hit with Flowers in the Rain. That got the number 3. Okay, so which group sang Fire Brigade? That got the number 2 in the UK charts. And they also had a hit with number 3 with Flowers in the Rain. It got the number 3. Number 6, which Beatles song is named after a street in Liverpool? They call it a street. I didn't think it would have been a street, but I checked it on the thing and they call it a street, even though it's, maybe they think it's something else. It's actually about half a mile long, it says. Check that out. Okay, so which Beatles song is named after a street in Liverpool? It's roughly half a mile long. And number 7, number 1978. I met her in a club down in Old Soho is the first line of which 1970 hit. I met her in a club down in Old Soho. Okay, it's the first line of which 1970 hit. And number 8, what connects all these answers? So write them all down. Hope I haven't made it too hard. Somebody will get it. Maybe all of you will get it. Hope not. Okay, if you want to go over some of the elements again, I'm going to give you the answers out and then tell you the connection, and then we'll move on to round 3. Before we do that, there, big shout out to Stevie and Rita and John and Dawn and Gina and Davey, Josie and Bill and Andre, who else is there? Billy and Margaret. I know all the usual ones that's doing it. Let me know now who's doing this here so that I can give you this shout. Who wrote the book of Mice and Men? Here's the answers. And East of Eden. It was John Steinbeck. Okay. Last year's cream of chicken was the UK's favourite soup, but outselling the usual number 1 flavour, which was tomato soup. Which group had hits with Patience, Pray and Back for Good? Take that. And what type of bandit did you used to see in casinos? The one-armed bandit. They changed it to push buttons because people were putting claims in, hurting their shoulder, pulling muscles and all. So they changed it to pull buttons, push buttons mostly. Which group sang Fire Brigade and got the number 2 and had a number 3 hit with Flowers in the Rain? It was The Move. The Move. Which Beatles song is named after a street in Liverpool, roughly half a mile long? Penny Lane. I met her in a club down in Old Soho was the first line of which 1970 hit. It was Lola by the Kinks. And what connects them all? Right, we'll go over them here. Who wrote the book Mice and Men and East of Eden? He also wrote The Grapes of Wrath. It's John Spendeck. So we've got Grapes of Wrath. And last year's flavour of soup, the usual number one, is tomato soup. So we've got tomato and we've got grapes. And which group had hips with patience? It was Take That. And one of the members of Take That was Jason Orange. And what type of bandit you used to see in casinos? The one-armed bandit, also known as the fruit machines. And which group sang Fire Brigade, got the number 2 and had a number 3 hit with Flowers in the Rain? It was a move. They had one number 1 hit, and it was Blackberry Way. Blackberry Way. And which Beatles song is named after a street in Liverpool, roughly half a mile long? Penny Lane. It was a double A side with Strawberry Fields Forever. Strawberry on the other side, double A side. And I met her in a club down in Old Soho, was the first line of which 1970 hit Lola by the Kinks. And the first couple of lines they weren't allowed to say Coca-Cola. They had to replace Coca-Cola with Cherry Cola. They had to, because it went against the product placement laws and guidelines with the BBC and all, so they had to replace that. So the answers was fruit, with grapes, tomato, orange, fruit, blackberry, strawberries and cherry. All the answers was fruit. Let me know how you got on in that one. Okay, write your scores down. And we're going to go on to round 3. What's the largest species of polar bear? What's the largest species of bear? What's the largest species of bear? You might get this one. Number 2. Which ancient wonder of the world would you have found in Iraq? Which ancient wonder of the world would you have found in Iraq? Number 3. In which modern day Turkey would you find Troy? Remember the wooden horse at Troy? So in which country now would Troy have been? Troy. What modern country was Troy? In the Bible, after the Last Supper, what was the name of the garden where Jesus was arrested? Okay, after the Last Supper in the Bible, what was the name of the garden where Jesus was arrested? Number 5. In which US city did Rosa Parks refuse to move to the back of the bus? Okay, I'll take the city or the state. I won't be too hard on you here. In which US city did Rosa Parks refuse to move to the back of the bus? Now here's a tough one. You might know this unless you play golf. What is it called in golf if a player is allowed to replay a shot without penalty? Probably amateurs would play this, but it's not in the rules of golf. Rory McIlroy would do this or anything. They wouldn't do this. What's it called in golf if a player is allowed to replay a shot without penalty? When the shot went wrong through bad luck or a blunder, even though this is against the former rules of golf, what's it called? In the Beatles song, When I'm 64, where is it they could rent a cottage from? In the lyrics, in the Beatles, When I'm 64, where is it they could rent a cottage from? And number 8, what was Malcolm X's surname? What was Malcolm X's surname? Okay, write them answers down. If you want to go back, pause it and go rewind that, and I'm going to give you the answers out. We're about 14 minutes here. What's the largest species of bear? You might get this one. It's polar bear. What ancient wonder of the world would you have found in Iraq? The Hanging Gardens of Babylon. And which modern day country would you find Troy? Turkey. In the Bible, after the Last Supper, what was the name of the garden where Jesus was arrested? It was the Garden of Gethsemane. In which US city did Rosa Parks refuse to move to the back of the bus? It was Montgomery, Alabama. If you put in a two of them, you give yourselves a point. And what's it called in golf when a player is allowed to replay a shot without penalty? When the shot went wrong through bad luck or a blunder, even though this is against the rules of golf? It's called a mulligan. A mulligan. And the Beatles song When I'm 64, where they could rent a cottage from? The Isle of Wight. We could rent a cottage in the if it's not too dear. We can scrimp and save. 3 children, grandchildren on my knee. Vera, Chuck and Dave. So we can rent a cottage in the Isle of Wight. It's Isle of Wight. And what was Malcolm X's surname? Malcolm Little. Okay, I'll get them scores up. And we're going to go on to round 4. Just checking all these. I've got the answers down. Yep. Only one mistake, given that answer right. Round 4, we're at 15 minutes. Who was the first women's tennis player to do the Golden Slam? You've heard of the Grand Slam. But the Golden Slam, who was the first women's tennis player to do the Golden Slam? That's the 4 majors plus the Olympic title in the same year. And number 2, what was the first US city to host the Summer Olympic Games? What was the first US city to host the Summer Olympic Games? Got this one wrong, couldn't think of this, but should have got it. Who held the world record for the men's 100 metres before Usain Bolt? So who was the world record holder for the 100 metres before Usain Bolt broke it? And number 4, at which racecourse is the Prix d'Arc de Triomphe ran? Okay, so at which racecourse is the Prix d'Arc de Triomphe ran? And number 5, Doris Stokes died in 1987. She was famous for being what? Okay, Doris Stokes died in 1987. She was famous for being what? And on which, number 6, on which island was King Kong found? Okay, on which island was King Kong found? That was 6. Number 7, what links a Cliff Richard single and a Stephen King book and film? What links a Cliff Richard single and a Stephen King book and film? And number 8, who was the face that launched 1,000 ships? Who was the face that launched 1,000 ships? We've come to 18 minutes here, and we've 1 round left to do. So, answers. If you want to rewind them, go back. Here's the answers. Who was the first women's tennis player to do the Golden Slam? That's 4 majors plus the Olympic title in the same year. That was Steffi Graf. And what was the first US city to host the Summer Olympic Games? St. Louis. Who held the world record for the men's 100 metres before Usain Bolt? Asafa Powell, another Jamaican. At what racecourse is a Prix d'Arc de Triomphe ran? Longchamp. And Doris Stokes, who died in 1987, was famous for what? A medium. She was a medium, and I checked that in Google. She was a 28 in the waist. She was a medium. On which island was King Kong found? Skull Island. What links a Cliff Richard single and a Stephen King book and film? Carrie. And who was the face that launched 1,000 ships? Helen of Troy. Helen of Troy. So hopefully it's around about the 18 or 19 or 20 mark by this stage. We're going to go on to the last round, which is a music round. Number 1. Which 70s song contains the lyrics? You've got the figure, you've got the face. Which 70s song contains the lyrics? You've got the figure, you've got the face. Number 2. Who had hits with Rock and Roll Suicide and Boys Keep Swinging? I never liked Rock and Roll Suicide when it came out, but I think that's a great wee song now. I didn't hear it much in the radio. Who had hits with Rock and Roll Suicide and Boys Keep Swinging? Number 3. Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark had 2 hits about a girl named Joan. You get a point if you name both, okay? Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark had 2 hits about a girl named Joan. A point if you name both songs. You don't name the both of them. Who had an 80s hit with Dance Yourself Dizzy for number 4? Who had an 80s hit with Dance Yourself Dizzy? Number 5, I've seen this in the news during the week on my phone. Spencer Eldon was in the news last week as he appeared naked as a 4-month-old baby, underwater, reaching for a $1 bill or a $10 bill. He's trying to sue the group for child exploitation. Name the group. Okay, so Spencer Eldon was in the news last week as he appeared naked as a 4-month-old baby, underwater, reaching for a $1 bill or a $10 bill on the front of an album. He's trying to sue the group for child exploitation. Name the group. Number 6, and a song by Manfred Mann. What's the name of the home where Jack stayed? Okay, there's a wee fella named Jack, and he was an institute. He was in a home. But what was the name of the home in the song? What was the name of the home? Okay, number 7. The Osmonds only had one UK number 1 hit. They only had one. What was it? Okay, number 7. The Osmonds only had one UK number 1 hit. What was the song? 21 minutes, 21 and a half, coming up to 22 minutes. So, who had hits with the songs Different Drum and Tumbling Dice? Who had hits with the songs Different Drum and Tumbling Dice? Okay, if you want to rewind some of them, panic in here in case that stops recording if we're running out of space or something. I'm going to give you the answers. Number 1. Which 70s song contains the lyrics, "You've got the figure, you've got the face"? It's Glass of Champagne by Sailor. Number 2, who had hits with Rock and Roll Suicide and Boys Keep Swinging? David Bowie. Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark had 2 hits about a girl named Joan. A point if you name both songs. Joan of Arc and Maid of Orleans. Who had an 80s hit with Dance Yourself Dizzy? Liquid Gold. And Spencer Eldon was in the news last week as he appeared naked as a 4-month-old baby, underwater, reaching for a $1 bill or a $10 bill underwater on the front of an album. The album was called Nevermind and the group was called Nirvana. And a song by Manfred Mann, what is the name of the home where Jack stayed? It was the Greta Garbo home for wayward boys and girls. So if you've got the Greta Garbo home, give yourselves a point. The Osmonds only had one UK number 1. What was it? Love Me For A Reason. It wasn't Crazy Horses, it was Love Me For A Reason. Number 8. Who had hits with the songs Different Drum and Tumbling Dice? Linda Ronstadt. I always like Linda Ronstadt. Linda Ronstadt. Okay, that's the end of that. Quiz number 30. That's 1,200 questions so far. So let me know how you've done, especially on the connection round. I've actually done next week's connection round, and I've started the week after's connection round. Getting carried away with these connection rounds. So good luck and have a nice weekend, and I'll catch you again soon. Good luck.